your cups go because of 60
Amy,
years
are you
of
on?
everything.
No, my uncle was a firefighter.
Oh,
He- From the hoses and the everything else, they were like,
Yeah. He says really,
It's mean.
but not to break the thing.
All right, seeing it's 7 o'clock, I'd like to call to order the Conservation Commission meeting for July 6th. First on the agenda, we have a continued public hearing, which we cannot start for 10 minutes, so I think before that, we're gonna get a couple administrative things out of the way. Janet, did you want to talk, we have some information here on the Algonquin access proposed gas line?
Yep.
Did you want to talk to us about that?
Yeah, and I think you, not that one, I think you people have that little stack, but this is basically them being in touch because they need to do like test probes or borings or something, so because of what they're doing where it's located, when you follow the whole coding of like 10.022 whatever, it actually falls under an exemption. It's under, so they don't have to file with us. I think they're doing 5 of them. Some of them aren't even near any resources. I think the one over at Dean Street, if you read, because I asked them to be more specific, but I think they're hoping to do directional drilling, so that wouldn't put them anywhere in that area. So
Okay.
this is just kind of, and they're giving the reason why they're doing those borings, so.
That's sort of what they did over at 106 Main, right? We let them drill
Right,
the
right.
driveway area.
Yep. So this is just them kind of checking what the soils or something are like, and if things are like directional drilling, if they can do that, so it's just minor stuff.
When the pipeline gets started, is it going to go through a resource area in the town of Norfolk?
I don't know, these are test pit areas,
I'm not
so.
sure yet where it's going exactly.
Yeah, I think they're still kind of checking around. But for this part, you know, they're talking about needing to do this part, so this part, where they're doing it, it falls under the exemption,
yep,
so they're okay with
okay.
that.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on that? Minutes. June 1st minutes.
just to make sure we're looking at the updated minutes that came across yesterday.
Yeah, I did see these. Is all set with the minutes?
Make a motion to accept as written.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Minutes for
June 1st, 2016.
second,
Second.
favor, all, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
We're close enough, we can get set up. Are the folks here from Lake Path? How are you, sir?
Great, how you doing?
You wanna, come up and introduce yourself and,
John, that young couple are the new owners of the house.
okay. How are you? Could you just give us your name for the record?
Sure, my name's Mark Farrell, Greenhill Engineering.
And
And ask you to take the microphone.
Good evening, my name's Mark Farrell, Greenhill Engineering.
Just update us, Mark. When we left you last, we required you.
We'll try one more time. Mark Farrell, Greenhill Engineering.
Last time we had left, you were required to put some information on that plan,
Yes,
determine something about the floodplain.
yep, we have that,
Okay.
we have that information, and the other was you wanted the hay bale line behind the house tightened up as much as we possibly could behind the house, and we've done that as well.
You turned the plan into our office.
Yes, I did. Yeah, Janet should have all the copies. I gave it to her electronically and also hard copy.
Thank you very much.
Did you go out there today, Janet, take a look
Ooh, ooh. Mind meld.
Uh,
Yes, I did.
at
Is that my
everything else?
mic or yours?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Any questions for,
No, I think I had been there recently before, just checking that compensatory storage area. And it looks like you're right in that space from the trees over to the driveway. You don't have to cut down trees or anything.
That's correct.
The second part of that you think of after the fact, they're taking dirt away from that area. What's gonna happen with that dirt?
They'll have to remove it off the site,
Okay, okay.
because otherwise the whole property's in the floodplain, so.
Except for a little bit
What they'll
like
do is
Lakeland.
they'll bring in an extra 49 yards of fill to construct the septic, and to the right of the driveway, they'll remove 49 cubic yards of fill, and they'll have to truck it off-site.
So for the septic, they have to have special fill, they can't use the stuff that's over on, okay, just checking. Okay. And then you did put on that 25-foot no disturb,
Yes, I did.
mark that on the plan, so. Are the new owners aware of that? Have you given them a copy of the plan? So,
I think have I given you one electronically?
Yes.
Yeah.
because I'll be the one harassing you, I'm Janet.
how is
Just
that
so
gonna
they're
be,
aware of
how
it.
is that gonna be demarked on the, lot?
Well, currently, the whole lot is, back through there is cut of grass with a few trees peppered over the backyard. It's been that way for, I imagine, a long time.
I'm sorry, I was reading, I'm sorry, it's what, mode? I just don't want them going further back. There's somebody around the corner from you people, every time I go by there, they used to have like a lot of little trees and shrubs and everything along the water. Now they've left like a couple trees, they've got their plastic chairs out there, but you're not supposed to be removing all that vegetation, so I just want you people aware of that.
Well, in our regulations, I don't know if you reviewed that or not, but they call for one of three methods to demarc where the no disturb area is, so that future people can't infringe upon it. And that would be either just a group of boulders that are placed along the line that's on this plan, a post and rail fence, or some bushes. This is a long area here, so
Very
it
long.
allows for the help from the other commission members.
So
What do
are
think?
you asking that there be no further disturbance
Right
than what's
here.
already there?
Yeah,
ask-
that line on the plan, we have to ensure that down the road that no one starts to work in there and do things in there or make that lawn or whatever. So normally to show that line physically to any owner or new owner, we have some type of a marking out there to let them know that that is not usable as far as private use.
Mr. Weddleton,
Right, yeah.
just putting this out there, they recently, there's some trees down over here where the septic's gonna be.
Right,
The pieces are still on the ground. If they took those sections of trunks would that be something that they could use for that demarcation?
Well, that's why I'm opening to the board. This is such a long area. I don't want to be punitive and have the folks spend a lot of money. I'm assuming you're not going to get a lot of boulder material.
Well, that's, I figured those logs are still laying there, and they technically shouldn't be
Correct.
there, because that's town property, so those need to be moved, so I didn't know if they put those around, I don't know how far that would go, but there's quite a bit
How
there.
about if they just keep to the existing maintained area now and not cut down any more trees or any more of the vegetation?
Yeah, but without a marking there, somebody down the road
Could.
could. And that's the whole reason for the regulation.
And right now, it's maintained basically right up to those wetland flags,
Yeah.
mowing.
So what about just putting a couple of fence posts, T-bar posts with a, wetland buffer zone area every 100 feet in the back or something?
Oh.
I mean, that wouldn't be, the boulders that require a lot of disturbance to get them back there. A split rail fence would be, of great expense. And a little metal post with a, wetland buffer zone sign on it would be informative.
I like that idea. That works for me.
Patrick?
Inexpensive, it shouldn't,
Does the job. It's an expense.
every 100 feet.
Does that work for you?
Sounds good.
Yeah, about 20 or 30 of them. Maybe.
They're gonna be removing the
Well,
logs.
this whole line, you going right around this whole line here?
Sorry, what?
This line here?
Are the logs gonna be removed
Maybe
anyway?
not 20,
They better
15.
be.
What's that?
Why don't you,
This line here, right?
right.
Cut them up.
Yeah.
Why don't you do a combination of putting the signage up and just taking some of those logs and just place them intermittently between the signs, just so there's some type of demarking, all right? You have to remove them anyway, correct?
Trees?
The logs,
Yeah, the logs.
The logs that are already down.
Okay.
Okay.
I think one person, a couple of hefty guys, one on either end, could just take them and drop them.
Well, they'll be waiting for you,
Somebody could
James.
supervise.
They'll be waiting for you.
I
You
have no
folks have a
problem.
contractor that's gonna be doing this work?
I do. It'd be Patrick Trufant.
Okay, make sure that Patrick knows that, first he puts in the hay bale line, limit disturbance, and, calls the office to have it checked. And assuming it's in place properly, then he can start construction, okay? So since he's not here, we'll leave that to you, being the owner, to make sure when all the disturbance line is in place, that you call the office, so Gina go out and take a look at it, okay?
We'll make sure he's informed, and we'll make sure it happens that way.
All right, good. Any other questions?
None.
Motion to close?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Did you, okay. So what we will do at our next meeting, we will have the orders of condition written up. We'll vote them in, sign them, and you can have a copy and be on your way. Janet, do you have any problem with letting, how soon did you folks want to get started?
About a month and a half ago.
You're on
They
target.
have the houses in needs work, and they have one of those rehab loans, and,
Right, yeah,
yeah, so they're both anxious to get going.
yeah. Well, why don't- in the meantime, they can put up the disturbance lines anyway, right?
Yep, and what, the hay bales, just to make sure?
Yes, right. Unfortunately, we can't let them start construction until we have a recorded order of conditions here, but if you want to put up that, it's quite lengthy disturbance line there, you can get working on that, okay?
Sounds good.
And like I said, our next meeting, we can vote, so you can have the orders the next day, okay?
Excellent.
I'm gonna give them the date of the next meeting.
The next meeting would be the second Wednesday in August.
Which is the 10th, it says the 17th.
I don't think with the volume here, we need 2 meetings in December, so I think the second Wednesday will work
What's the
fine.
I'm not going to be here for that meeting, so I just want to make sure the
All
attendance
right,
will be
and
sufficient.
hopefully a couple of others will be then. You able to come then, Michelle?
10th is fine.
I should be
Okay,
here.
okay,
Betsy and I are both on vacation, so you know,
right,
it's going to
okay,
get reported.
yeah, okay.
So is there any chance that you get them before that?
We don't meet until then. They have to be voted during a
The meeting.
meeting.
Well, we could vote tonight and then just come in and sign.
We have
it.
nothing in front of us to vote on. That's a problem.
They have to be prepared.
All right, so,
Make
Nick?
a motion to close.
yes, it's been closed.
It's been closed.
So we're all set.
All right.
So unfortunately, guys, you're gonna have to wait till the next meeting to come back. And we have trouble getting people here. We have 2 people missing and barely have a quorum just for tonight, so. All right. All set?
Yep.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Do we want to assign a time for that?
Why don't we do, say,
First.
No, we
Quarter
don't
past
need a
7.
time, 'cause that'll be the,
I think that's fine.
I turned it off so it doesn't get that feedback.
Hopefully.
all right. I'd ask Dan for update on the CTC, but he's not here. Do you have any other business for us while we have a 10-minute lag?
For 10 minutes.
oh,
You wanna
oh,
sign?
right. If you want to, Mr. Weddleton, talk to them about the emergency
Amy, you wanna do
certificate
this?
for the Beavers.
Want to do this?
Why don't you tell them? Why don't we do some of these action items then, okay?
It's not the microphone.
Get it.
Just go over the
Yeah,
emergency.
Public Works, I think, is it Cam?
Chemical.
Camger.
Okay. Their water or emergency water supply for emergencies comes from City Mills Pond, and the water level's down because of a beaver dam and beaver and that. So, emergency certificate is needed from Board of Health for the beaver, from conservation for breaching the dam, but it's needed for
What? The beaver needs what?
the beaver.
We serve them papers.
The beaver will be trapped. That's gotta go.
They have to remove the beaver. The beaver's blocked up the dam and the pond
Yeah,
level is
I knew that,
substantially
yeah.
low. So to remove that, they asked for emergency order because it had to be done right away
Okay.
because of the fire hazard.
Definitely.
So I signed this to initially get them going, but now we want to vote from everybody in the board just to add your signatures to this form, okay?
Make a
Just to
motion.
ratify it.
Right.
Under our paperwork, under the state form, they have 30 days for that. I think Board of Health is 10 days, so they should be able to. And we waited until because they had to line up the boat and everything because of the water, whatever, so.
So the form is a Wetland Protection Act emergency certification. So if you want to vote to approve that,
We'll vote to approve what's that again?
Wetland Protection Act
Wetland
emergency
Protection Act.
certification.
Emergency certification and, at City Pond, McCamger.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That was a mouthful.
Oh, you, sorry.
I don't know what's happening.
Do we all have to sign it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just,
Oh.
you're just saying that it's so, you know about it and you're okay with that.
We have the, do we have
You
the
deliver?
orders? We have the orders of condition for 31 Merrill Lake.
Yep.
We're all set to vote and sign that.
Oh, yeah, good.
Why don't we do all 3 of them, okay?
Yeah. 31 Mirror Lake. Oh, that's the one with his house splitting open.
Call them the Robinsons from Duck Dynasty. They have a good way of getting rid of beavers.
All right.
Stick the dynamite.
Now's a good time to do it.
So you're all set with these, Jim? There are no special conditions on this, correct? Mirror Lake?
No.
All right. So I need a motion to approve the orders of condition for 31 Mirror Lake Ave.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
That's fun.
That's your permission. Next, we have the orders of condition for 106, 108 Main Street. That hearing was closed about a month ago.
Yep.
Month ago.
Amazing.
Right. Here's the first page of that. Did Dave sign that? Did you sign that, 31 Mirror Lake, Dave?
Okay.
No, that's not the page. Where is it? 31 Mirror Lake, is that over there? Big slip, I think.
Oh, okay. Okay.
He's got to sign that.
Not on the top
Give
line.
that to Amy, that's the folder that goes with it.
I didn't get in trouble.
I had my warning. Sign it.
I signed it. I'm below John.
Emergency certificate?
I did, I think. I'm below John. You both?
You were below John? I think two people signed on the same line.
Which one?
We're efficient.
David, Victoria, that's you. Patrick, you signed the emergency certification?
I believe I did.
The second line?
Oh, I didn't, thought I did. What did I sign?
You tried to cover up
I think you
Michelle.
might have signed right over Michelle's. See that mark?
That's me.
That mark.
No, that's me, that's scratch. That's me.
I don't know why there's two first pages.
All right, next, I have the orders of condition for 19 Union Street. Need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Just knocking it out tonight.
On the roll. Careful, don't want to sneak anything in.
Did you do the 106, 108 name?
No, it's coming.
Oh, okay.
We're going in order. Don't trip over anything. That's all we need to.
Oh, no, this is
Today?
He's gonna give you the signature page.
Oh. Let's have the young person walk it down.
I can walk to town.
That's what I said, the young person.
Thanks, I'll take it.
The only time you get it.
Yeah, I think I've signed everything. No? That's Union.
So what's that, just 106, 108 Main?
Yeah, good.
I'm sorry.
Motion to approve the orders of condition for 106, 108, and 103 Main Street?
So moved.
130
And
Main
103.
Street, I'm sorry.
130. 130.
130. That's that little section where they have the trail go into the MBTA that we had to add to,
okay.
we had to add to
All
that.
All right. Yep. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 And that's the one that's the state form. State form only. No attachment. Sneak where we are.
Comes out once and then comes out on the sidewalk.
Color. Is it
It's
dark?
black with a little red stripe.
Red? Look that up. Not sure we have 4 signatures. Oh, all right.
We'll let the old man.
Patrick, take this, that goes with it, that's the file. Right, thank you.
Just on time. Alright, so this is them.
CROG we have today?
This comes to do the same thing. Right. Me neither. You wanna get some?
Good.
Look at it, it's real important. You can't see. This will go right down. See? All right, seeing 7:30, I want to open up the continued public hearing for 84 Cleveland Street. Good morning, guys. Did the young lady with the TV tell you where to set up?
Yes, sir.
All right, great. Right here. What do we do?
The big plant at the bottom. Huh? Yeah, there's 3 of those.
These. We have a report from the engineer on stormwater, that's that.
Yeah, there is a, look,
Yeah.
How'd that come to Joe D?
All yours.
Good evening, thank you, members of the commission. On behalf of Lakeland Farms LLC, my name is Steve O'Connell from Andrews Survey and Engineering. This continued public hearing for a notice of intent for a townhouse community project under Mass General Law, Chapter 40B at 84 Cleveland Street. At the conclusion of our last meeting, your consultant was going to form her scope of services with regards to the wetland boundary review. Ms. White, your other consultant, Beta Group, was going to perform their scope of services with regards to the stormwater system review. We received both of those review documents today. Haven't had a lot of time to give them much review, but certainly enough, we feel, to continue some discussions this evening. I think what's we also were made aware, where we observed land surveyors on the property yesterday locating wetland flags that we delineated as part of the project. I understand that
They come out good.
a product will be provided. I'm assuming for our review, we have not seen.
Yeah, I have,
results of
there's
that.
no issue with the flag placement.
Okay, great. That's good, because we take our work very seriously, and we don't screw around with things as important as accurate work.
I know that you weren't at the hearing on the drainage, Steve, on the ZBA.
Right.
We had some issues with the report that I'm sure you know about.
Yep, I've reviewed that report.
I was hoping to get the answers back to our consultants to review those?
Well, we were waiting for reviews from your consultants from the commission, which may have been separate and unique comments to provide one wholesale, comprehensive revision.
Because the attorney sort of mentioned, quite adamantly actually, that they were just typos and the changes would be forthcoming right away. Is that still the contention that, because there were substantial number differences, you know? Are you still contending that they're typos?
Some are typos, some are already addressed internally. There are, I think the best way for me to summarize the review comments is that there are no comments that have any detrimental or significant impact to the project as originally proposed. And so,
But you will be reviewing conflicting numbers on the report
yes, we have.
and submitting a new report
Oh, yes,
that include that probably when we get other things straightened out here.
absolutely. Yep, they're already significantly completed.
Where this may be a while, you might want to take the updated information on that report and send that over to Beta so they can review that in the meantime, so we can put that to rest.
Well, I'd like to have one comprehensive plan that Beta will review, which includes any input we receive from the commission, and the result of Mrs. White's review, which I'd like to spend a few minutes talking about when the time is right this evening.
Yeah, we're going to be doing that pretty soon.
Great. So that's customary in my experience. I'd hate to see Beta reviewing revised plans and documents that might be re-revised.
No, I only mention that for one reason. I was adamantly told in no uncertain terms by the attorney that they were typos, that they fixed with a pen administratively and we're done. So that's why I thought that could be put to bed. But since it's not just, as he had mentioned, we'll just leave that for one final review. That's fine. There's no need to keep reviewing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, nothing detrimental. Okay.
Good, okay.
Great.
All right, so we'll, are you all set with
I mean, I'm
your
ready to...
presentation, or?
Yes. I mean, I think you know the scope of the project. There's no revisions to the plans, but I would like to give you an update on, and it looks like Lenore had covered it in her memorandum, is that...
Lenore will first give us her report, and then you can address that.
That sounds great.
Okay.
Wait,
Thank
can
you.
we just back up before we go? Did you say no revisions to the plans at all after the full
To date.
packed
No,
room?
to
that-
date. There's no revisions to discuss at this moment.
Okay.
They have revisions that are interim because there were some calculations on the report.
I understand. I was just wondering if there were any revisions after they had a packed room full of people objecting.
You were looking for revisions on the size of the
Was
project.
looking for revisions to this plan, yeah.
No, the revisions will be forthcoming once we have all of the information from your consultants that we need to incorporate. We just got the Beta report at 4:30 this afternoon. We got wetlands.
I understand that. You're missing my point that
Yeah, you're thinking like we went down from, to 20 units.
I'm thinking you might have realized this isn't an appropriate spot for this type of project.
Okay. Well, we're not of that opinion, so.
I fully understand that.
So I have nothing else to add if the commission would like to hear Wetland Strategies memo.
We would.
Okay,
Great.
thank you. For the record, Lenore White with Wetland Strategies. I was retained by the Conservation Commission to conduct a peer review of this site.
That's not on.
Again, the name is Lenore White. I'm the professional wetland scientist with Wetland Strategies, retained by the commission in this matter. So as part of my review, I conducted a site visit and reviewed all the flags that I could find on the property. And in my memo dated June 20th of 2016, I identified, half a dozen or so changes to the flagging locations that I felt were appropriate. And those changes are based on my observation of wetland vegetation and long-term indicators of wetland hydrology. So I don't know if that has been addressed yet. The other thing that I wanted to inform the commission is I understand that this project is already being reviewed by the Natural Heritage Program because of a priority habitat and an estimated habitat. And I just wanted to let the commission know, I'm sure they're aware, that before they can take any action, you have to allow the Natural Heritage Program to have their say, so that you can then incorporate any of their recommendations into your order of conditions. And I was, outside of the memo here, I was a little bit curious about the status of the review, and maybe the applicant can fill us in on this, because I know through my experience with natural heritage that when there's a priority habitat out there, it's usually a lengthy review. And because they protect upland habitats, a lot of the projects that I've seen, that I've forwarded along to natural heritage, they make significant changes to the project, and they want to preserve a lot of upland areas. So I was just curious whether or not that review, you know, what the status of that is, because if the plan changes significantly, this plan may not be the plan that the commission acts on.
And we wouldn't be making any final decisions until, I explained that to Steve when we were talking about his conversation with them, that we get something in writing with a final review and their final determination, then whatever status that this hearing is at, we'll take it from there.
Okay.
And of
yeah.
course, they would be incorporating any changes required
Yeah.
before we continued on with our hearing.
Yeah, okay, that's good, because they do make significant changes, and frankly, my experience with them is they're the most constraining agency, and by that I mean, they're probably the most difficult permit to get, and so sometimes it makes sense to get that first, so you know what your project will look
I
like.
had mentioned to you, and I had mentioned to the applicants, that one of the issues I have with this land is that when you look at the Google map area, this area was pretty much clear-cut well before there was farming activities or not. And as we know, that clear-cutting of a priority habitat without permission is not looked favorably on.
No,
So we will be addressing their meeting through you
okay,
with a detailed letter with the backup maps to show what this area was, and I forget the year that it shows it being clear-cut, but we're gonna present that data, because where this project is working right on the wetland line,
yeah,
then really they have left themselves, because of the density, they've left themselves no room to really maneuver anything.
I agree.
So that being said, that's gonna be coming from us during their process with
Okay,
that.
good, so we're on the same page.
Can I ask you, what effect does natural heritage have with this being a 40B? How does that?
It doesn't affect them.
It doesn't affect them
It
at all,
doesn't.
so
It
they don't
doesn't.
care that it's 40B?
No.
They just go about their business, the
That's
end.
right, yeah.
They're a state agency.
Yeah.
It's a state filing, they're a
That's
state
right,
agency.
yep. So that was just something I wanted to raise, but John, you've already raised that, and.
As a matter of fact, I had informed them at a previous meeting, and I had spoke to you about it.
Okay, very good. And then the other thing I looked at as part of my review was the stream that comes in to the adjacent property to the west. It's owned by the Butters, that stream. And the stream stats analysis that I performed does show that it's a very, very small watershed. It's not large enough to create perennial flows. So that was an analysis that I did, and I presented the findings of that analysis. And in order to be perennial, it has to have an acre of a drainage basin, and this stream only has 0.04 acres, so it's well below the threshold for perennial streams. And then last point was that the outlet to the pond, which is on that same Butters property, is a perennial stream, and I wanted to see where that 200-foot riverfront area extends, so that we can make sure that if there is work in the riverfront area, it meets the performance standards, or alternatively, it shows that there's no work in the riverfront area, then that's fine as
That
well.
incidentally is something we do want on the plan for the next meeting, all right?
Yeah.
All right. Whether a resource area is originated on an abutting property or not, if the resource area goes onto your property, then those lines are included on your plan, as you know. So we want that on the next one. I also had told the applicants, we're looking for science on the runoff / drainage / seasonal stream, whatever it may be, that's coming from north, I believe, of that property. of her basement when the pipe was not functioning for a while. So we want to find out where that water flow is coming. Is it coming from the pond? Is the pond that she's talking about being fed by another source? Or is it just straight street runoff that's going down into there? And of course, if it's straight street runoff, we're going to be looking at her property, which I believe is across the street.
Well,
So we want to find out why that
Okay.
phenomena happened. You remember her talking about that?
leave that to the applicant, and that concludes
Was she
my
next door on
finding.
the same side, Mr. O'Hara, or was she on across the street?
Mr. Chairman, next door to us on this side is...
On your side?
Durant's
Okay.
is a vacant property, but that neighbor you're talking about is the second house down.
Okay.
Mr. Farlick and his wife
All right.
Kath. So they're the second house on this area right here.
As I said, there is a chance that it's all street runoff coming from a number of houses down that backed up there and flooded into her basement. That obviously is a possibility, but it's going to be your job to prove the science and the origin of these things, to make sure that we can include this as a discharge into your basin and not as a seasonal stream that's going to be taken care of with a culvert going into the property. And you're also going to give us the science on the riverine, whether it is or is not, along with you putting the lines on the plan. I think Lenora's already taken care of the other stream for you and did that work, so that one is off the table. So basically, for now, we just have those two things that you're going to have to prove to us that.
Well, let me give you a few responses, if I may. We are in complete agreement with a couple of things that Lenore had mentioned. First of all, I also ran stream stats on the inlet side of this pond for this stream and found very similar results in the watershed, and are in agreement that that is not a stream. We are also in agreement that the outlet end of this pond is a stream. It's a perennial stream. It's mapped perennial stream, and we are comfortable with that designation. You will see it on a revised plan, but I will let you know now that 200 feet from the outlet of that stream does not go any further into our project site than the BVW.
Yep.
So it'll not be an additional resource area or buffer zone onto the project site, but you will see it on a revised plan. Those revised plans will encompass all of this information that you know, we're waiting to, we're still in gathering information stage. The potential wetland area that you speak of, Mr. Chairman, coming here to the northeast, our wetland scientists looked at that area. It is not a resource area. And I'm not sure if you're aware, but somebody, and I don't know who because I didn't observe it, but I have photographs, somebody hired a landscape company and they did a significant cleanup in that stream. And I have photographs that I'm happy to share with the commission. I didn't have them printed this evening, but I took them from my phone, and if you're interested, or I encourage you to take a look. So I would imagine that if that was a resource area, then whoever had that work performed violated the Wetlands Protection Act and the Norfolk bylaw. However, we do not feel it's a resource area.
But you are going to come up with some concrete evidence in writing, whether it be a narrative or with a study done, with soil testing, whatever, to show that point.
Yep, it'll simply be your narrative.
It's going to be something in the, there should be some soil testing too. There should be something in the file for all of these things as we move forward,
Yep.
along with the details on the riverine and when those utility lines were put in, et cetera, et cetera. Right. Again, everything that we're talking about, we want addressed in writing, so we have it as part of our permanent file for this project, okay?
Absolutely.
All right, I mentioned that before.
Yep, understood, and those things are all underway. They'll be part of a I don't like to give information to the commission or any other board in dribs and drabs. I think it makes it tough to track information. I'd like to see a comprehensive package for you
With all
to
due
have a
respect,
thorough
though,
review.
with all due respect, you'll give me the information when I ask for it, and at those time intervals, if you don't mind.
I'll give it to you when it's ready.
All right.
And at this time, it's not ready because we're still collecting information. For example, the documents we received this afternoon.
And hopefully we'll have that at the next meeting.
So what I would like to do is and is what is customary to do, in my experience, is there are observations in WSI's memo that indicate that certain flags should be moved.
I haven't finished with my report with Lenore yet, if you don't
did?
mind. No, I haven't finished with her.
Oh,
okay.
I was not aware.
Thank you, okay. I would like you to go up to the map there, again, where all of this drainage is right on the wetland line. Could you just go point to the areas where the flags are that are in question?
Okay.
And you mentioned in your report the number of feet that some of them you thought were
Yeah.
off by.
Okay, I don't know if I should stand over here. So you
Yeah,
can see
stand, yeah, great.
In this area here, I did find a flag that was labeled 36R in the field. There's no 36R on the plan, so I thought, okay, what's up with that? Okay,
Right, yeah.
and then there is this stream that does come in here.
Yeah.
It's a intermittent stream, but there's wetland vegetation around that stream. And I also pointed out that it's possible that there is a buffer zone that extends up into this area here due to that new flag and this resource area here. So that's the first comment. At 35 and 34, now, these are the flags that I noted in the field, which may not be the same flags that are here on the plan, because when I noticed that there was another flag, I couldn't be sure that all these flags were, you know, when I see flag 19 in the field, I don't know if it's exactly where 19 is on this plan. So, okay, so my notes here refer to the flags in the field, and at flags 34 and 35, there's another stream that comes into this wetland here, and there's fill that's pushed right up to the edge of the stream, and then it drops right down into the stream there. So I was curious about that fill and whether or not there's been any, maybe some filling of wetlands in that area, because the stream is there, which is not shown on the plan, and the wetland edge is right where the edge of the fill is. So there was some question about whether or not at flags 34 and 35 there might be some fill, that wetland beneath the fill. At 25 and 26, there was it's like a little drainage area or a sloped area that comes down from the field and enters into the wetland. And that area is low, it's flat, it's at the same elevation as the wetland, it has wetland vegetation, and I didn't see any notation on the plan that sort of showed this little drainage area coming out into, you know, this area here. It's up on the other side of the stone wall, so.
Is that drainage area where the stream was that you found out?
No, that stream is down here at 35 and 36. This other area is down at 25 and 26. So there's two areas there that don't seem to comport with this
On
plan.
that, before you go on that stream that has the fill around it,
Yeah,
can we excavate that fill to see if there are hydric soils underneath there?
it's a good 4 or 6 feet of fill. I don't know, we're certainly not gonna get an auger down in there.
Well, maybe we can have the applicants get a backhoe or something.
Yeah, because it looks like, you know, there's a tree that came down, and then there's fill that's pushed right up to the edge, and then the wetland flags are right there at the top of the fill, so.
I think maybe when you go out and do the, be patient, let her finish her report.
I think
Maybe
it'd be important to address these one at a time so we don't forget about what she's.
we'll go
talking
back.
about.
We'll go back for your benefit. Maybe when you go out and confirm these locations, we can talk about that with the applicant, and maybe he wouldn't mind getting the machine and just removing that just for us to see. All right, Lauren, go ahead.
Okay. Flag 23, I recommend moving the flag up 12 to 15 feet to include a predominance of sedges and the long-term indicators, including buttress roots.
And whereabouts is that?
Flag 23 is right here.
Is that where the drainage structure is?
No, that's back here. So it should, you know, in my mind, the wetland flag should come up like this a little bit, and they
Oh,
don't.
that plan there does not show the outlet pipes on the basin, does it, Andy?
No, it doesn't.
Or could you point to the plan that shows the outlet structures on the, that's what I'm looking at.
Okay.
All right. So
Yeah.
you see those outlet pipes there that are on the wetland line?
Yeah. Yeah, 23, I wanted this to move up a little bit.
All right.
22, the same thing. I wanted it moved up 6 feet because we have a predominance of red maples and blueberries. Flag 14, I was thinking that we could move flag 14 up, which is, let's see, 18, 16, 15. 14 is down here. So this was all red maples and cinnamon fern, so I thought either move this flag up or just connect flag 13 to flag 15. That seemed to make sense to me, and particularly given this sort of shape here, it seems to make sense. And 11 and 12, again, moved up a little bit to account for the predominance of cinnamon ferns and red maples. And lastly, up here, there's a really steep slope that comes down here, which you can't see on this plan. But the wetland vegetation pretty much comes right to the edge of the slope. So this line here from 5 to 6 I suggested we move that up to the toe of the slope, which I can't see on this plan here.
Okay.
And then lastly, I found flag 3, but I couldn't find 1 and 2, so it looks like 1 is off the property, so I need to go back and just, again, try to find 2 or make sure that it's out there when I go back.
Yeah, I understand.
So that summarizes the changes. Relatively minor, but I think it does affect the proposed activity, certainly.
What we normally do, just for the applicant, is, who was your wetland scientist that flagged this?
ENC Associates?
Normally what we do is have those folks go out with Lenore
Yep.
and go over each flag in question and come out with a determination. Once the determination is agreed upon, then the flag can be placed. If the determination is not agreed upon, then you come back to our commission, and we will give a placement for the flags, and then we will resurvey those new flags and put those all on the spot on this same plan. And then we can get this wetland line sort of agreed upon and out of the way.
That's what we'd like to do very much.
When we talk to our engineer, just to let you know, when you're doing grading right on a wetland line, as an old excavator, it's kind of hard to do drainage and put structures on a wetland line and not alter the wetland. You're going to have to prove to this commission that all of those structures along the wetland line are not going to enhance 1 iota into the wetland. And that's going to be done by a detailed diagram section on each of those, showing me the elevations pre and post, and a narrative of the work that's going to be done, because we are working right on the line. In some of these areas you're working on, now we have flags and contested. So I want to see elevation changes in a spot on each section of this, showing the grading, the existing grading, and the contours, and it's going to be your job to prove to this commission that you can build on the wetland line without affecting it. If not, the suggestion I would have, and I believe our engineer is in agreement, is to move that basin back 5 to 10 feet, because coming down with a 3-to-1 slope and hitting a wetland line with the grading involved, I don't see how that can be done without putting any material into the wetland area. So for our next meeting, I would like you to do a drawing of each of those with the existing elevations, with the proposed elevations, with a short narrative of what you're going to be doing and the materials in there, so we can take a look at that and give that to our engineers and decide what we think you can do without affecting the wetland. Because you have the spot here, as I've mentioned a few times, by making this project to the point that you're on every inch of resource area, then it is your obligation to show you're not an inch over. And if you are, things have got to change. So anyways, I would like that for the next meeting, along with the lines we talked about, and perhaps we can have a meeting with the 2 wetland folks that could go out and determine which flags should be where. You can let us know, Lenore, and if there's consensus, we can have the surveyors go out and we can start with a new plan and maybe map in everything else at the same time, okay? All right.
Should we contact Lenore directly for that, to schedule that meeting?
Yes, you can. Yes, your wetland person can connect her. And I would not like the applicant out at the time. I would like this to be just the 2 wetland scientists. And our consultant will know that if anybody is else there but the wetland scientist, she will leave. We've had problems in the past, nothing against you, Mr. Hart. We've had issues in the past with people.
Sorry for interrupting, Mr. Chairman. Lenore, we didn't go out with her.
No. No, that's great. I'm just telling you the history here, so why we have to protect our consultants from that. All
The
right.
applicant lives at the property, but they may be home and in
Oh, that's fine.
in their house.
No, it's not a problem. That's, I don't know, he doesn't move out for the weekend, that's fine. No, as long as he's not on the line talking about this or that, that'd be great. All right, and then we eliminate one potential hazard for her.
They were very accommodating last year.
Right. Any other questions from you folks on this particular aspect?
Well, I'll let Ted's anxious to
Yeah, I just want to mention that the 35, the question with the 35 flags, or the high 30s, Mr. Chairman, that's actually where our well is located. And Janet came out prior to all the vegetation, when, I'm going to say Janet was out there maybe maybe April or May, earlier in the year, and she's seen the scope of the work. We lost our well in December, and we have, it's 4 concrete liners, they're 3-foot diameter, so we had to excavate, it's a sump pump.
Super,
So
okay.
that's,
That's great, and that's why you
Yes.
passed that information on, Mr. Ohat, to your wetland person, so when she has these questions, that can be explained.
yes.
That works, right.
I'm not sure if Janet was able to take photographs, but there's no vegetation when Janet was there. Now it's up.
We know the
Yeah,
origin, they can determine
Yes.
the
The
correct.
well's right in that location.
Okay, great, thank you. Anything else on this aspect, Steve?
No, nothing else.
Lenore?
One question now, you mentioned that the 36R was a new flag?
Yes, after the last meeting, after the last commission meeting, we wanted to have our wetland scientists out on site to address some things that were brought up, specifically the potential resource area coming through Durant and the other abutter, and then the status of this culvert under Cleveland Street through Butters. And that while they were there, we looked at this area when, now that vegetation, we looked at many areas, but now that some vegetation has started to thrive. And what our wetland scientist did was he moved a couple of flags up this way, and then what he likes to do in his delineations is put a flag going in a certain direction, so we know as designers that buffer zones are no longer coming this way, but instead they're going that way. So there were one flag revised, which was 35.
So those flags are not on this plan?
No.
Those were done after the last meeting.
Which
So those are,
begs your question.
Okay, so,
Right here.
so those will be included on the revised plans,
okay.
along with, really what's going to happen next is you'll meet with our wetland scientists, there'll be some agreement on the delineation. All of those flags will be illustrated on future revised plans, amongst other aspects that we've discussed this evening.
So is that the only flag that was added, 36R, or are there others? You mentioned the 35 moved, is there other?
Just at the well.
Just that?
Yes. And actually, that was the result of Janet. I think Janet was out maybe a couple of days before that conservation meeting. She gave a little report, so we went out the next day to look at that well area.
Okay, good.
So it's a direct result of Janet's comments the last
So
meeting.
as far as you're concerned now, the flags are complete?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Subject to any
Well, in that area.
in that area, and subject to any, agreement
Adjustments.
where flags get,
Absolutely.
if they get
Yep.
moved. right?
The high 30s should be finished.
And it doesn't, there's wetland on the, that stream comes up, sorry, but, the stream comes in here, and then there's a wetland associated with that stream. Did you plan to flag this to show where the buffer zone was, or did you estimate that this wetland that's associated with this stream?
It is well greater than 100 feet from our property line.
That's what you found?
Yes. But I'm assuming that that's something that you
They
and
had
our
mentioned-
wetland scientists can,
They'd mentioned at a previous
Review.
meeting that that stream was, what, 106 feet from the property line?
114 feet.
There's a BBW at the stream, so the BBW is also a resource area, so you're saying that the BBW is more than 100 feet?
Yes.
No, well, you
Yep.
can look at that when you go out there at the
Yeah,
same
Yep.
time. All right, check. Any, well, this is kind of two sections. If some of the neighbors here have questions on this aspect of the filing, I'd be happy to hear them.
Hi, Dave Poggi, 89 Cleveland Street. And I apologize to the committee, to the applicant for being late. But I just wanted to give some insight that I had with regard to the stream that comes, I'm going to point to it, but is this north? North, and then what it does is it comes from a pond on my property across the street. And I think that there was a comment made earlier about it being cleared out by landscapers, and I just want to say I've been paying attention to the activity in the area, and I saw, I believe it was Massachusetts mosquito control that came in to clear out a bunch of the brush, and I have my own insight into why. My pond feeds across the street, and over the last 2 winters, as there's been activity in the area of trees falling down onto the road with heavy snows. People have been working very actively, and they've cut down trees. And a couple times those trees have been thrown into the, I think you're calling it a culvert. So from a timing point of view, what I perceive happening is that's a wet stream that gets blocked up by, I mean, 2-3 years ago, I pulled 12 logs out of the stream. Maybe it was 6, but big logs out of the stream that were stopping the activity of the flow of water, which if you're thinking about mosquito activity, it's going to make the water pool. Just from a timing point of view, it's July. I think the mosquito patrol group was probably here in June, roughly. And I'm just, you know, if I think about snow seasons, and this was a low snow season, the water that flows across for 5 months of the year and then travels down was getting stopped up. So again, my apologies. I stopped in last week to suggest that somebody from the conservation give me a ring. They were on vacation. I was on vacation, but I'd open it up if people want to come talk to me and look at the pond and look at the flow across. I'd be happy to have you come look at my property and where the wetlands start, and then where they go across the road and where they go down in the stream. And I think, again, the mosquito control is probably what removed a lot of the stoppages. But I can tell you right now, I have a pond across the street, and it's 2 feet down from where it was 2 weeks ago because it's been 80, 90 degrees. But I can tell you from October through, say, May, in a regular rain season, it's full and it flows. So I apologize I wasn't here. If you want to take a look or reach out to me, I'm happy to bring people on.
Thank you. Any other questions from anybody on this aspect? All set? All right, let's go on to the stormwater report review.
Sure.
Andy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just run through our commentary quickly. Our first comment in the report we submitted was relative, as you mentioned earlier, to some inconsistencies with some of the area calculations. In 2 different parts of the report, they cited different total areas of impervious surface. Depending on which one is more accurate, it would certainly affect their design. Our second comment was the method of calculation used to determine the drawdown time. We just asked that they presented one method. We just asked that they also present a second method used by DEP standard. Additionally, in the mounding analysis, there were some inconsistencies in some of the areas that they calculated. We just asked for some clarification on that, and to redo the calculations with consistent areas. Fourth comment was the recharge volume in relation to the water quality volume. Again, that ties into the total impervious area. So the inconsistency with the impervious area needs to be straightened out and carried through that calculation as well. And that's going to carry through the next comment on the forebay sizing. Again, is tied to the total impervious area. Our next comment was we were looking for a figure in the operation and maintenance plan that we weren't able to locate in the documents. Just asked that it be submitted for review. In the HydroCAD analysis, the basin exfiltration rates, we note that they had used the Rawls rate for sandy loam, and there were some other soils present on site. Just asked for some clarification as which rates were more appropriate. The remainder of the comments had to deal with mostly on plan revisions rather than the model, and looking for a detail. Revise the construction detail to specify gasketed pipes, and the next comment, which I think relates to what you were talking about earlier, Mr. Chair, we noted that there were several locations where the slope was graded directly to the wetland line. We're suggesting a 5-foot buffer be used to allow room to construct that slope and to prevent inadvertent disturbance to the wetland. The next comment was in relation to the method for the perforated PVC pipe. They have it wrapped in filter fabric. Just personal experience, some of those systems can fail over time, so we had suggested an alternate method, but to a degree, that's personal preference. Next comment was, again, looking for some revisions to the detail on the low-flow outlet. And then additionally, we noted that the orifice outlet detail shown on the plan did not match the what was shown in the model. We're just asking for that to be clarified so that the two agree with each other. The next one was just a clarification on the titles of some of the construction details, so there wasn't some confusion. And also we noted that there was a change in type on the material in the construction detail for the base and cross section, and just wanted some clarification on that. The major issues truly were the location of the grading in relation to the wetland line, and just clarifying some of the inconsistencies in the area calculations so that we can make sure we're all working from the same numbers.
Now, that detention basin is how long, about 200 feet?
If I go midpoint to midpoint, it's about 200 feet.
So you got a 3-to-1 slope on that, right?
3-to-1 slope, yes.
All right, so, Andrew, how do they account for the sheet runoff? They got a 7-foot grade change over that slope, and the slope ends right at the wetland line. How is that runoff accounted for from going into the wetland? Is that part of the drainage plan, or is that just?
That would be sheet flow off the site. I don't recall specifically it was in the model, but it would be, it wouldn't come through the basin, it would just be sheet flow coming down that slope,
I
yeah.
understand. Have you guys looked at that?
Yes, it was in our watershed area. Our watershed area always includes areas right to the, the edge of the analysis point, which in this case was the wetland edge. So it would be area that would go undetained to the analysis point.
Does that work?
That works, yeah. Yep. I think what you're trying to arrive at, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but the concern being the runoff coming down that slope, hitting the edge with enough velocity to scour, or is it purely that it's been accounted for?
Just excess water dumping into the wetland.
Yeah, it would have been accounted for in the model as undetained flow.
Okay, thank you.
We have most or many of those comments were similar to what we received from the ZBA stormwater review, which we have well in hand, that you'll see written responses to and illustrations on the revised plans in response to these. So we're very comfortable with the review comments and our in-progress responses. So thank you for those.
Questions from the board? Yes, Jack.
Just a couple clarification points. And Mr. O'Hart, you're right, and I've lost it. That flag, wetland flag 33, that's over where that well is, that you took off the top so I can peek inside and everything. So I think that's just concerns about, and I know you guys had to work it and you didn't have water or whatever, so we'll let the professionals go out there.
Let's look at it and
Yeah, look at it
evaluate.
and make their decisions, so just so we're on the same page with that.
So will we wait until they review it prior
Yeah.
to me going in and digging it up?
Yeah,
Because it's-
don't even worry and wait and see what happens when they go out there.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious when they actually look and see. Yeah.
So let them
Yeah.
fight it out, and if they can't figure that out, then other people get involved. you know.
Excellent. Okay.
natural heritage, because according to the notice of intent, you submitted that May 5th?
Yes.
Okay, so. how
They
long-
they reached out to us second week of June, or well, I guess it was maybe just before their 30 days statutorily.
Says,
60
yeah, they're
days.
There's a
30 days.
30-day
They
and 90 days.
they requested some addition for some reason. I can't explain the mail, but they said they did not receive the complete set of plans. So we immediately sent them a complete set of plans. Don't know why, but just for everyone's information, we did have a pre-submittal consultation with them where we were very comfortable with the input they gave us. I'm not telling you anything that wasn't told directly to me. This project will be a take. It'll be a conditional take. Okay. So we know from Natural Heritage this will be a conditional take. Since we cannot provide mitigation land in the same mapped habitat area, they've also informed us that they will not stop this project. They cannot stop this project. However, Mr. O'Hart will have to provide, there are 3 options for mitigation. There's land banking on-site, there is land banking off-site, or there is a financial contribution. Mr. O'Hart will be required to provide that financial contribution, which is used for resource and purchase of other available lands, by that agency. However, I fully expect that you will see that in writing in the coming days. I tried to, Brent Powers is the gentleman at Mass Wildlife we've been speaking with. Could not get what I needed from him prior to the meeting this evening.
But even that information, because you hate to go along too far with this project if they say, whoops, wait a minute, we want to leave all this for them or something, so.
Completely agree. We deal with
Okay.
that on a regular basis as well. I don't think we would have come this far if we didn't have the input we had from several
'Cause
consultations.
we haven't had anything from them, so we're dependent on you to
Yes.
share the information as you get
And
it.
I'm a little reluctant to share some emails that I have from them
No,
because
no,
I
no,
think
no.
what's more valuable is the letter. It may say the same thing that I
The
have
end
in an
result.
email,
The
but
end
that
result.
letter.
Yeah, just the end result.
Yes.
A minor point, if I might, Mr. Weddleton, I know I'm dropping everything tonight, forgive me. It doesn't affect your project. And if I could give that to them, it's part of the town maps, but it's just, I don't know if you can reference it on your plans. See the green areas?
Yes.
Did you ever hear of inland restricted?
Yes, it's old Wetlands Protection Act.
It's in there, it's in that wetland. It doesn't
In the
affect-
pond.
Yeah, it doesn't, well, actually, that wetland that comes over the edge, but I don't know if they could just put a note on the plan.
Sure.
Just so it's there for any future projects or whatever, I would appreciate that.
Happy to do it.
Because I think that way in the bottom, that wetland that curves
Yep.
up,
That's right.
yeah, somewhere over there.
Yep.
But even if they just put a reference note, inland restricted wetland number 33, 34, within area or something.
Okay, happy to do it. Thank you.
Yep.
That is all we have. We're happy to answer any more questions from the commission or abutters.
Audience, any more questions? Butters, neighbors? You guys all set?
I'm just curious, what's the financial contribution the Heritage Fund wanted to not require land? That number has not been completely disclosed.
It's 1.5 for every acre that's.
For every acre that's taken, we replaced 1.5 acres. So
They tell us that the number starts at 10,000 an acre, but that's just order of magnitude. So you do the math of 8 acres, there's 80,000, but no formal number has been provided to us.
we replace 1.5 times what we take.
So, I'm sorry, what, do we know what the number they're assuming you take is, committee, to?
What's that again?
I'm asking the committee, do we know what the number of acres is they're assuming that you?
Yeah, it's
no clue.
just shy of 9 acres, the project.
The project, I think, is 8.8 acres, is that it? All right,
And Heritage considers all of that?
yes. All right, so since we have no other questions, we'll continue this meeting on. You guys know what you have to do for our next meeting. Information for me, get the lines on the map, get me the narratives we're looking for on that drainage/stream coming down Cleveland Street, the riverine, the detail on the drainage structures, and in the meantime, we can hopefully get the flags all lined up, so that piece of the puzzle is all set.
Sounds good. When's your next meeting, if I may ask?
Next
before
meeting
you?
is the second Wednesday in August.
It gives us more than enough time.
Is that okay?
Yes.
All right.
Now, if there is no dispute about wetland location, if they come to agreements in the field, we will send our wetland, our survey crew to locate those, any modified flags, and then we will proceed swiftly with finalizing revised plans. I'm assuming that you will want to send that survey crew that was there yesterday to verify.
We're on it.
But like I said, we'll be comfortable with our work.
Right.
So we would probably take the opportunity to prepare revised plans and responses to documents and things like that, and get them in the office for everyone's review.
Good.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Mr. Weddleton, I'm sorry, one question. What survey crew is he talking about?
A beta is surveying the flags because of the previous discrepancies in the lines. We're having our own surveyors go out and mark the flags on the plan.
Oh, all right.
Remember, that was part of the proposal?
Oh, sorry.
It was. All right.
That's a first for me.
Yeah.
And for the survey crew that was out there.
Right. All right, so we have, what date is the second Wednesday in, the 10th? All right, we have 7:30 available.
We have 7.
Yeah, we don't have.
We don't have anything
Okay,
yet,
so
so we
why
can
don't-
do 7 o'clock.
We'll do 7:15, just to give us time for business, okay? All right, so take a motion to continue this public hearing till,
A motion to continue the public hearing on 84 Cleveland Street to August 10th
Second,
at 7:30 PM.
sorry.
7:15.
7 what?
7:15.
7:15 PM.
Second.
all in favor? Aye. All set?
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
There's a plan just like this in Dorchester next to the Shattuck Hospital.
There is?
There is.
The what?
It's a project just like this in Dorchester next to the, actually it's in Roxbury, right next to the Shattuck Hospital.
Looks the same.
Looks the same.
Right next to the golf course.
In Dorchester or Roxbury?
Roxbury.
Franklin Park.
Franklin Park, yeah.
Oh.
Franklin Park
Yeah.
golf course.
Shh. It's a secret golf course, right? Wasn't that Menino's?
It's not secret.
I know.
It's actually a pretty nice golf course.
Yeah, I see the Shattuck Hospital and you see the golf course and,
Well, I know, I know the Shattuck too.
but
Hey, Pat.
whatever that road
Well, they-
is
they
not
changed
Cleveland
that.
Street. All I know is that I get hit by one of those cars when I'm running, coming out of Cleveland Street. I'm gonna be.
Don't run.
I'm gonna be madder than
You
madder.
know, I'm gonna be
than
honest with
mad.
you.
You'd be
Michelle?
hurting too.
Michelle?
I will be.
Michelle? I think you'd have more chance of a car getting hit coming out of Fruit Street from the side than out of this proposed, because they're gonna have an even entrance and entrance with a stop sign that will be very visible from the street. Coming out of Fruit Street, coming from Seacon.
Janet, anything else for
Over that
us?
hill, and they never
We all
stop.
set?
Me being one of them.
All right,
I make a motion to close.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion. Who seconded
I got a
that?
question.
Sure.
Can you
On
just
your
tell the lady
Hold on,
that
hold on a
we're
second.
off?
Amy, we off?
Wait, I don't know.
I don't think we are.
She needs
Have her
to
turn
know about
the,
Yes.
we're all set.
Amy?
Yeah, we are.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Okay.